This evening we are having uh, a special meeting. I mean, it's something I actually love, and the topic is Canva Like a Pro, and we have our presenter here with us, if I'm not wrong, right? I think he's here with us. All right, sir. All right. So join me as I welcome our presenter with all our emojis and everything. Please let's welcome our amazing presenter, Mr. Samuel Apata. You have the floor, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I see all the emojis. It's always great to have a host on these meetings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's nice to have you.
yeah, absolutely. So today we're really going to just dive into Canva and just explore some alternative ways to use Canva. But real quick, by a show of hands, or if you want to add an emoji or something, or type it in the comments. Who has used Canva in the past? Is this a tool that you use or heard of? I just want to know your comfort level. Okay, I see some crying emojis. I also see some thumbs up. So yeah, it looks like the consensus is that we all use Canva. So that's a good thing, right? So Canva really is a tool that really just came into popularity about 5 or 6 years ago. So before then, we all knew Photoshop and Illustrator, which if you've ever used any of those Adobe tools, you would have to go to school to almost learn how to do anything, right? You couldn't just pick up a YouTube tutorial or attend a session like this one to learn how to use Photoshop. But luckily, we now have Canva. So Canva really, I think, started the whole AI movement in terms of design. So it was really just a tool that started thinking with the customer in focus. Like, okay, how can we ease pain points? How can we make this even simpler for our customers? And really, what they did was, start with a lot of templates and just easy to use tools. So now you can just easily manipulate your photos. And who doesn't prefer that, right? It's everyone likes the easy stuff. So with Canva, and if you've ever used Canva, you would notice that you can, employ a lot of templates. It's really just sped up our workflow. So here at Hailerz, we use it for pretty much everything. Any graphic that you see on Instagram or Twitter, it's all created with Canva. Um, Very rarely will we use another tool because those just take a lot of time to create. And I can tell you for one, it probably takes about 2 minutes to create some posters in some cases. In other cases, it may take maybe 10 minutes, but all of this to say, things have gotten a lot easier. But there are cases where maybe what you're trying to do is a little more complicated or require a bit more definition. So that's what this whole session is going to be about. Just showing us some more advanced features in Canva. And even though it's supposed to be an advanced class, the techniques are really very simple. So don't expect some you know uh, theory or something too complicated. It's all going to be easy to navigate as we go along. And if you have Canva, it's a great time to maybe just follow along and practice. But if not, if you really have great retention and memory, then just try to cram it all, and we'll see how far we can get. So really, this first slide that I have and I'm going to delete this, guys. Well, let me not delete. let me just duplicate the slide. Can you confirm that you can see my screen? All right, awesome. Thanks for the thumbs up. So yeah, this slide really is going to, we're going to just do a little bit of color correction. So let's assume you're bringing in this image from the web, right? Like we always like to do, like find images from the web. Let's assume we're bringing in this image. It looks like a great image, right? But still, it's a little blurry. It's a little grainy. And you see the impact of that in a second. So let me reduce this. Shortcut, if you hold Alt, well, mini tip, if you hold Alt and drag, you can duplicate without, I mean, you can also copy and paste, right? Control C, Control V, but sometimes you could just Alt drag and you have your copy. So in this case, well, maybe it's better to make this large, actually, now I think about it, just so you can see the difference. So I'm going to make this as large as possible and duplicate that slide. So here's a grainy one, and here's the one we're going to work on, right? And all you're going to do is go to Edit. And what we're really just trying to do is to make this a little bit sharper. So go to Edit, go to Adjust. You can write it down or you can follow along. It's all up to you. But what we're really looking for here is clarity, right? So clarity, just let me admit the new person. Clarity is just a way to dial that tone up, and you can see the difference. Like let's just even go extreme here. Like, it's taking care of a lot of things. It's taking care of the sharpness, it's color correcting, it's doing all of that stuff. And we can still increase the sharpness too if we wanted. So the difference between this and that is, one photo is, just all soft edges and blurry, and then you have a sharp image. Now, did anybody know about this trick? Where in Photoshop, if you were to achieve this, it would take a couple of steps. But here in Canva, it's just super easy. Now, is the photo better? I don't know. It depends on what you're using it for, but that's a real quick tool right there, clarity. So let's move on to something else. Yeah, and just simple things like if you wanted to, maybe let's say you're working for a brand, you already have their brand colors and everything, or maybe you want to borrow colors from your image. The way that you quickly do that is to maybe you create your shapes. Let's quickly create some shapes over here. So go to Elements and just add a square, add a rounded rectangle. And all you do is go to the photo you're trying to use and just do apply colors to page. And it just borrows colors from that photo and adds it as your template. And if you don't like that combination, you can do it again. Go to apply colors to page, it refreshes it, gives you another color combination. And while you're doing that is you're just trying to make your image and elements more cohesive, right? So everything looks like they belong together. So that's the second tip. Quite easy, right? Now the third one, which you might find interesting, especially if you work in branding, maybe you're trying to supply someone with souvenirs, maybe you have a company that's trying to hand out souvenirs, you're trying to see what that looks like quickly. You can do that with Canva by going to mockups. Well, the way you get to mockups is you can go to, you can go to Elements, And they've really made things so easy now. Like these menus used to be a lot different, but now it's all now shapes has its own space, graphics has its own space, and so on. But down here is mockups. That's the one you want when you're trying to apply logos to like flask and stickers and so on, or t-shirt design. For example, let's just try this t-shirt one out. All you're doing is, and we recently had a t-shirt challenge. I wonder how many people actually use this technique. Um, if you're if you're trying to, let's just say we're trying to add this logo to that t-shirt. All we're doing is we're just going to drag and, oops, sorry. Yeah, you can see like it's all a simple drag. Whoops. My computer is not thinking fast enough today. But yeah, it's a simple drag. That's all you have to do. And you can even like adjust the position. So if you're trying to, um, just move the logo up a little bit, that's the way you would do that. You would just drag it and that's it. Like so easy. Just 3 easy steps. You bring in the mock-up and you apply you drag the logo and that's it. And I've seen a lot of people where they place like the logos on the mid section and all that. Like the logos should, a t-shirt design should sit on the chest, never like and that's something you may start to notice even after this class. Like you just see a lot of awareness out there. But and we can try that on other things. So let's say we are trying to add that to, so we go back to elements. Let's look for maybe a flask. We'll bring that in. Same thing. You want to go to your uploads. So let's assume you already have a logo, right? So it could be any logo. All you're going to do in that case is just drag it and just place it on the flask. And that's it. Like you double click, it's too large in this case. You want to scale it down. Make sure it's proportional and hit, well, there's no way to preview it. If I were to advise them, that would be one thing they could change or update. But yeah, it's a little skilled, but that's also because of the way the logo is. So you might get a different result with a different logo, but you can easily, you can make it fit or hit fill, whichever one works for you. Well, that's not a great example now I think about it. Let's try some more. What should we add a logo to? If anyone wants to chime in.
Is it possible we do for a like for packaging
Yeah.
bags or cheap bags? Like
What packaging specifically?
uh personally I think I want to see like a cheap like a bag packaging bag for let's say chips or
Oh,
fast
I
food.
see. Right. Yeah, let's search. I don't think it's called chips though. Like I know what you're talking about. Just package or bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try bag. Yeah, I mean, it's all there, like pretty much anything at this point. So I think one thing I'm wondering too is, can you bring in your own image, right? Yeah, because this should be quite easy to do. So you're just doing the same thing, bring in the logo in, and it just goes on the back. Yeah, real simple. I mean, you could have other cases like a billboard or phone, I mean, computers, those are all common cases. So yeah, you would see phone or computers a lot of the times. Maybe someone is trying to show a website, or maybe you already took a screenshot. You're trying to fit it onto a computer. This would be a way to do that. So let's see if we can fit a screen into another screen. Yeah, that's not going to work. Let's just bring in a photo. So yeah, bring in a photo like this and just bam. Yeah, let Canva do its work. Like, you don't have to stress yourself, and you can adjust it however you want. So you want more or less of the lady showing, you can always adjust it that way. So that's that for Brandon. Lots to look at with that one. I mean, not to mention, if you're presented to a client, for example, you want to have different options, right? So, depending on what they're asking you would use, like, that's just a quick way to do that. The next one we're going to talk about is Magic Expand. Now, Magic Expand is really, it's one you might have, worked with once in a while, but maybe you just tried it out and it worked out and you're not sure what you did. I think this will be a good one for you to see how this is achieved, right? And I don't know if this is a good enough photo for us to use. Let's search for something else. So maybe like sunrise or something. Yeah, so maybe a day at the beach. You have your photo, and the photo isn't, well, maybe you stretch it one way. Well, maybe let me try something else. So maybe you stretch your photo one way, and that's it. Like, you're out of options. Like, you wanted to fill the screen essentially, and you couldn't get it to fit the screen. So one thing that you can do is go to edit and go to the magic is it magic expand tool. So here's where most people get confused and they're not sure what to do. What you need to do is grab on the edges. So you grab that edge and go, however much of the screen you want that image to fill. And really all it's going to do is generatively expand your photo using that as a base. And in some cases it takes a minute, just based upon, it's calculating, it's figuring out where to put what and what else to bring in. And you can see that, right?
I have a question for you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So could you pick a landscape option, then have to drag the picture that way?
Yes, absolutely. So what you're asking is to maybe make this, I mean, we can even resize this actual page. So make this, maybe we invert the aspect ratio. So maybe make this 20, make this 18 and make that 24. And then just resize this design so it becomes landscape essentially. Right. This is what you're asking. Like,
Yeah. Yes.
okay. Yeah. So I don't know if this helps out. Let's make it a little, let's reduce the height a little bit. So height, we can give it 10. And resize this design. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is, so let's say we have that same photo and we're trying to create a design. We can't get to the rest of it. Same thing. You go to, let me zoom in a little bit. Same thing. You go to edit. So always, sometimes when you search, your search is there. You want to clear that search before you can see all the options. But up here is where you want to be. So click on edit, and then click magic expand. Yeah. So magic expand, and remember, you want to drag the edges to exactly where in this case, we can just, test it out. Like, we don't want it to fill all of the screen, and just hit expand. It's really helpful where maybe you took a portrait of yourself and maybe one of your fingers is missing or cut off. You can easily just generate one. And, the results may be varying. Like here, I can almost see a line, which isn't what we want. But there are, you could view all the options. So these are all variations of that
Right.
same.
Someone is asking if you could be a little bit slower.
Oh, okay. Yes, I do talk fast. I'll try to slow down. So yes, in this case, you are really just checking the options, and we can undo and try to. Let me just cancel. So in this case, we're trying to make up for. We have an image and we would like to expand it to fill the entire scene. And we don't have that information, right? There's no way to scale this without cropping it. We can crop it, we can do this, but that's not what we want. We want to instead fill the entire scene. So what we do is go to Magic Expand, which can be found under Edit. So you click Edit, and under Magic Studio, you see a right arrow over here. You click that a few times to get to Magic Expand, and that's what you want. So you click on Magic Expand. Was that it? Sorry. Yeah, Magic Expand. So you click on Magic Expand, and yeah, this menu looks different from what we were working with just now. What happened? Yeah, it's the same thing. So you ignore that, right? Ignore all of this. I'm not sure what it's for, but maybe when you click on whole page, maybe it just does that for you, but you can also do it manually. So let's do whole page. Yeah, exactly. That's all it is. So it's telling you, do you want to go 1-for-1, or do you want to go free form, or do you want to go the whole page? In this case, we're just trying to do the whole page. So I don't like the way that's been displayed. Let me go back to edit, go back to Magic Expand. Yeah, it's really not that deep, trust me. Like, all you're doing is just, grabbing the corners and pulling it to the edge where you want it to be, and then you click expand, and that's it. Any questions before we move along? Yeah. So that's it. You hit done, and you're done with that one picture. What else? So for this one, it's really, you're trying to change the color of the cupcake to match any other graphic that or maybe match your brand template or something. All you're doing is going to edit, and you go to, I'm not in edit mode just yet. So you go to adjust, and under adjust, you would see the different colors So these colors represent the colors on the cake. So you can see there's purple, there's green, there's brown. So let's say you want to change the color of the cake itself. That's where you can, mess with the hue or saturation. So it's going to look a little ugly, but you see how that's changing to another color? Yeah, so maybe you want a green cake instead of, and then you can still mess with the others too. Like, you can dial that back to bring some of that. Yeah, this one you have to be very like precise and apply good judgment when you're adjusting these. And you can always reset it. So if you don't feel like you're doing a good enough job, just go back to your cake by I think there should be a cancel option. Maybe you just press undo after you set it. Now I'm not sure where this will be helpful, but these are things that would take you a lot of time to accomplish in Photoshop and the likes. Did anyone find this useful? I'm just curious. Like this particular. Okay, yeah. So that's good. I mean, you could try it with cookies, maybe. Maybe that one was to. Yeah, let's try with cookies. So same thing. Edit. Go to adjust. And under adjust, you can, sorry. Go to adjust and scroll down. Under hue, you can, maybe it's Halloween and something. But yeah, that's the way you can quickly adjust colors inside of Canva. So now that we've just really gone through some of the pro features, I would say, how do you use Canva in your everyday, in your day-to-day? Does anyone want to come off mute and tell us how you use Canva? What do you use it for?
Hello everyone. Once in a while I'm required to create publicity for learning programs and course content. So I use Canva to create videos, to create posts, create banners, and also enhance my graphics during course development because I create courses. So yeah, that's one way I use Canva.
Yeah, that's awesome, and thanks for contributing to the discussion. So really, there are times when, like I said, we use Canva for everything. Like you may recognize some of these posts. These are just some ways we use Canva, right? Let's say you're trying to create something like, I'm trying to think of something basic. Trying to create something basic, like maybe you come up with we're trying to create a flyer that includes the audience now for something we're launching next week. This could be a way to quickly do that. This is only showing your design, so you want to be a template in this case. So depending on what your template looks like. So if you're you have to consider how you're using Canva or how people are used to seeing you use Canva. Like, are you someone who uses drop shadows a lot? Do you prefer the more flat kind of design where, things are just kind of sitting with each other? There's no texture, or are you using illustrations? You have to think about your style when you're choosing a template. For us, our audience is mostly like young people, so we're looking for something fun, something flexible that we're not That's not very complicated, right? And you have to kind of, here's where you use your imagination. Like you're not thinking about what it looks like. You're thinking about what it can look like. Um, so, we're searching for something like audience. You can add a bit more description if you want, but I think in this case, I think audience is really just okay for what I'm trying to create here. So, you know, lots of templates to pick from. If you're trying to show like a step, this actually looks like a good one. So if you're trying to show like a step for what you want the audience to do or how to join a meeting or something, this could be a good one. So it's got the audience photos, even though they look like little children, or something, you can easily replace that. So, think about how you, what else you can do with this template. And, the quick thing to consider here is you're creating for social media. So in this case, we usually create for Instagram first. So you want to go to social media. I'm trying to go as slow as possible. Go to social media and you maybe click on Instagram. You may not see that option. The option I'm looking for is Instagram Square, but usually you can't really find it. I don't know why Canva does that. So you have to really just maybe type Square or something to get that to Instagram. Instagram post Square. So when you find that, you can just do something like resize this design so you're not going too far. And this may be a poster you see on social media later, but just know we created it together. So go to, these are our brand colors. So this is Hailerz brand colors, right? So you have your greens, you have your yellow, and all of that. So in this case, you're still going to add an audience here. So you may choose a darker background for something like that. I don't like this. I think they look like kids. So I'm going to use something else in this case. So I can go to elements and search for crowd. So you start to see a different kind of audience. You can search. I know I want graphics, right? I don't want photos because with photos, you can't change the colors. So I go to search all. Well, they're not protesting. They're not, you don't want this. That doesn't fit into our brand guidelines. So yeah, I mean, it could be something abstract, right? So maybe something that's not like, it's not like showing humans. It's just mostly like, yeah, here's where you like start to get like, okay, really creative about this, right? Like you're not saying it's a crowd, but it's still a crowd in a way. And you would have to, in this case, it's on top, so you want to send it behind. All you do is go to layers, send to the back. Is what I'm doing making sense? Does this look like an audience to you? And this could be like out to join or something. And then, you can change your colors quickly, just pick out your background and change that to something that's more on brand, right? Do the same for the numbers. And make that, still want to stick to the brand. Yeah, something like this should work. Yeah, and then, change this to, yeah, you don't want to have your website on this side. People tend to look down here for important information. You can either just quickly change that. And maybe it's to maybe you want to make that 30 so it's more visible. Yeah, that's how you do that. Um, here's where you start thinking, like, should I bring in a logo? Is it too much? And so on. But I think what I'm just trying to show is, how you can, quickly just create a workflow and get a professional design even out of a template. Now, does this look like what we started with? I don't know. Like, it's, yeah, like this is what we started with, right? But see where we're ending, something that's more like, I mean, there's still a lot of things that are wrong with this. Like, I would justify this, for example. I don't think having it in the middle that way works. So, you could justify that. And it just reads better when you take those steps. Well, this isn't, yeah, now you have to align them. So selecting and going to position, left justify. Well, why not do everything at once, right? Well, maybe not, because it's kind of boring from each position. So go to position, left justify, and so on. Yeah, so this definitely looks better than what we started with. So, I mean, not to say this isn't a good design too, right? But those are just some ways. So what else? What else should we design? Can you think of any other template you would like to? Maybe a birthday card or something? Anybody? Did somebody say
Anybody?
something? Yeah.
Maybe a book cover.
Book cover? Okay. Yeah. There are lots of templates for book covers. So it depends on the kind of book, right? So, think of a title, just so we're more specific.
The heroes.
The heroes, okay. Yeah, I mean, there are already a number of them here. Yeah, so depending, if it's for kids, you're probably going for something like this. If it's something dark, you're going for something like that. If it's something with sci-fi, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. If it's something, yeah, then at that point, you want to just be more specific, like sci-fi book. So that just narrows down your search. Now you're looking at just sci-fi. And I know we've had a Hailerz challenge, design a poster in the past, and here's where you can just find something quickly that you can build upon. So this could be a, I don't know, there's so many good options here.
Quick question for you: are most of these fonts that are they free, or maybe because you have a paid account?
No. Oh, I think it's when you have a paid account, you have more options for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you have more options, but you still have some options on a free account. Yeah, so that could be tricky for if you don't have a paid account, but
Yeah, I only asked because I can see that you have a lot of options. So that's what I was asking. Like, okay, are they paid or
yeah,
are they open free for you know?
right. Do you use Canva? Do you have a paid?
No, I don't have a paid one. I mean, I used to use Adobe to do most of my editing before, so I just started learning Canva not too
Yeah,
long. But I don't have a paid account
okay,
because I don't really have much. I do with it for now.
exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, you definitely. like I use it every day, so it's a time saver. And getting good value for how much I'm paying for it. But in the past, I've charged people like for creating a logo or poster. Like now, I can create it in 5 minutes. Like I can imagine for a graphic designer, that's good value for your money if you can create a poster in 5 minutes for a client and charge them some good money for it.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
I'll be your accountant when you're charging people.
Right. Like you have to think about the value you're getting from stuff like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not saying a huge value for me to pay for it, but I mean, I've
Yeah,
actually used it before, but
right,
not something I use all the time.
right. Yeah, there's so much you can do with something like this. So I mean, if you just want the layout and you want to start from scratch, you want to introduce some characters or whatever, like you can start to um I'm sure there are ways to blend in photos. Like uh, let's say you're trying to blend in this photo to, yeah, there's so many things you could do. You could remove the background so it's just a superhero that's left. Um, you know, you can start to adjust the layout so and I'm just going off the cuff here, but you see how just doing that can just make things put things in a different perspective. You can change this to city. Or anything else. You can change it to anything else, really. You can quickly just set that as the image background, and it's just, and now you have to move your text. Maybe this is too much. Well, you can't really do anything about that one. Maybe you're trying to add like a filter. You can just search. So you have to know what you're looking for. Like you have to have some maybe a good background of design to even to an extent. I mean, not to say it's still it still boils down to how, like, the more you create, the better you just get naturally. So this could be something where it's like, okay, I think kind of look like they go together, like they belong together, but still it's not. Maybe you want this to be a little bit darker and not. You can reduce the transparency. You can increase it. Yeah. I mean, there's so many other options inside of Canva. Like you can, even while working with photos. So let's just look for some of the photos we've been working with lately. So, I don't know, something like this. Let's say I mean, there's still so many options under the edit that you can. Oops, maybe that. We already talked about that one. Um, that's background generator. Do you see what happened? Did anybody catch that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so
No.
this was the original image, and what we just did was create a totally new background for using AI. Um, so yeah, like which environment would you like to put this people? I mean, it could be anything. Church?
Let's put them on the spaceship.
Where?
Let's put them on the spaceship.
Okay, spaceship. Okay, all right. So let's just generate spaceship. Yeah, like it's it may not be the best results, but you kind of have to blend it now. Now that you have the base to work with, you can. There's still a lot you can do with this photo, right? Like you can make it black and white. That's probably what I would do. Like just that just neutralizes everything. Um, so and the way to do that, remember you want to play a search, so you have more options. Go to edit, filter, go to edit filter, and you can easily turn this to black and white. And there's so many options for. So yeah, any of these should work. Just putting it in black and white just kind of grounds it. Everything just you know is standing out at this point. And there are different options for black and white too. And you can also adjust the intensity as needed. Yeah, that's blending a little bit better, even if you want a color, right? Like you're still not as different as it was when we first created. But yeah, that's really all that we needed to cover today. If anyone has any questions, is this something you think you would try out? Is anyone going to be trying this out? Any of the techniques before I hand it over to PBK?
Before you go, I have a question.
Yeah, please go
It's
ahead.
just an open one. Like, have you encountered any limitations from your experience using Canva?
Yes, there are limitations, but I would also say that you're limited by your imagination. That's your biggest limitation. So, regardless what tool you're using, there are always ways around. But Canva, they're always innovating. I haven't even tried the new. They just released a bunch of features. So that's something to try. And they have this app section where you can install different apps. And people are always creating apps for you to add to it. So if you want to even take your Canva to the next level, you have to explore all of the, some of these apps. It could be a logo maker, mockup studio, just different things. So yeah, I would just say do the work. Like yeah, I know for me, I'm doing the work right now because for this class, I didn't even know all of this. They're not like tools that I used in the past. But I had to prepare for this class and went through a quick tutorial and now I know it, right? So just keep exploring and yeah, sky's the limit. PBK.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the insightful session. I learned a lot. Although I knew about Canva before, but this I don't know about what you just showed us, and I was really inspired by it. So one thing I learned while he was speaking was the more you create, the better you get. So I don't want this to stop here. Keep creating, keep getting better. Recently I just discovered that you can edit your videos with Canva actually. So I want you to try everything Mr. Sam has taught us. Try everything out, and trust me, you're going to get better. I want to see you out there doing big things, creating amazing stuffs with Canva. I want to see you inspiring people out there with whatever you've learned here with Hailerz, and see you guys at the top. Thank you very much for joining tonight. Sorry, this evening session. We sincerely appreciate every one of you. I want to call everybody's name, however, I might not be able to do that because of time. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining. See you next session. Let's send Mr. Samuel our emojis and thank him for this amazing session. Come on, let me see your emojis to thank him. Thank you, Ayobami. Thank you, Bisayo. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Let's do all to have a wonderful. Bye, everybody.